It's me, Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie. On this episode of CD Junkie, I'm going to talk about a gentleman by the name of Paul Frederick. And the thing about Paul is he's been a member of a few different bands. Most notably, the one that everyone would be familiar with, or most people would, is the Family Cat. And they were a great British, they weren't shoegaze, they weren't Britpop, but they were around during all that time, and they were doing their own thing. And their own thing was pretty darn incredible. I'm going to start with the first thing I ever heard by the Family Cat, and I'm going to go through the catalog of the Family Cat and Fred's other band, JACK ADAPTOR, and Vibrations of the Sun, and the April 7. Now, a lot of people might be thinking like, oh, there's Schnee talking about somebody that we have never heard of. No, I'm talking about someone you should listen to. That's the way I always approach my shows. This is somebody you need to hear. Let's go all the way back in time to 1989, and we're going to talk about Tell 'Em We're Surfing. I think the vinyl had a different cover, but this CD reissue of it was more a mini album, and it just introduced the sound. It had the loud, distorted guitars, and it had that urgency that maybe a little bit faster, a little bit more quote unquote alternative than like shoegaze and things like that. But I could see how people would be able to lump them in with that stuff. This is really a fantastic release. But the thing that caught me, I think it actually may have been one of the bonus tracks on the disc, is a song called Gabriel's Wings. Now, Tom Verlaine, I think, might have been their first single, but Gabriel's Wings, that was a song that I said, holy cow, just listen to the songwriting. And then I went back and listened to everything else again, and I thought to myself, the loud guitars cannot hide Paul Frederick's voice. Let's just refer to him as Fred from now on, because that's usually what he goes by. And, because he wasn't screaming over everything. He just had this great voice, great lyrics, and he just seemed cool, calm, and collective when everything was kind of a cacophony around him. But the Family Cat, far more melodic and hook-laden than maybe I just described, but those hooks in the melody really came to the fore with some of their singles that they were releasing in between these releases. Now, the only one that I have handy is Place with a Name, one of my favorite Family Cat songs. Boy, is this thing incredible. It's such a great song. I thought Gabriel's Wings was great, and then I heard this, and I just thought, I'm going to follow this band to the end of time, which pretty much I've been doing. So that's like 34 years or something. But the next Family Cat album is called Furthest from the Sun. This came out in 1992. This was actually released in America. Now, this is a limited edition version that's kind of easy to get now. For a while, you couldn't find it anywhere, but it has 2 bonus tracks on it. Interesting thing about this is the album has a couple songs featuring PJ Harvey on backing vocals. And from what I remember, this was released even before she really, really took off. But this is another great collection. The songs are even better than on the Tell 'Em We're Surfing mini album. Now, there was a single that came out this time. I think it was Steamroller, which is a great song. And they do a cover of the Beatles' Across the Universe. Now, I cannot stand Beatles covers, but I had to throw that in there, scare you a little bit. I think that their version of Across the Universe is one of the best Beatles covers that I've heard. So I will put that in the medley at the end of this video so you can hear at least a little snippet of it. Furthest from the Sun is a great album. Lots of great songs on it. River Diamonds and Color Me Gray. But my favorite song on the album is called With a War. And that's really a wonderful album. Then the next album came out 2 years later, and I thought this was going to be the breakthrough album. This is it. In fact, this version came with a golden book, because there's a song called Golden Book, and it came with one. And I don't know where my Golden Book went, but I still have the CD and the music, and that's what matters. In a sense, the production sort of turns down the guitars a little bit. You can hear Fred's voice much better. Every song has a great hook. There's a song on here called Gone So Long. When I was a DJ on KUCI, I had a really cruddy shift, Sunday mornings, 3 a.m. to 6 a.m., but I played that song almost every single show, at least every other show, because it's so emotional and powerful and fantastic. And this has a lot of great songs, Airplane Gardens and Spring in the Atom, and lots of great stuff on this album. This was also released in the US, and I thought this was going to be the breakthrough, and it wasn't. And unfortunately, after I think the band had started recording their 4th album, and they split up. But then luckily for some of us, in 2013, they released a 2 CD set. and that is called 5 Lives Left. Now, I'm assuming that's a takeoff on the Nick Drake album title. And it's 2 CDs, and it contains tracks from the 3 albums that I told you, plus the B-side, Across the Universe, some other B-sides and non-album singles, Remember What It Is That You Love, What We Talk About When We Talk About Love, and sessions, but it also has some of the songs that they recorded for that 4th album that never came out. And this is a perfect collection of songs. The only thing I would have changed is I would have just added everything and made it like a 4 CD set. But it's absolutely fantastic. Now let's go back to Fred, the vocalist. For a few years, I had no idea what he did musically, but then I discovered later that he had formed a band with producer Christopher Cordoba, and the band was called JACK ADAPTOR, and they released their first album in 2004. This is where Fred and Christopher Cordoba, they decided to tear everything down and just start from the beginning and start building up. This album is kind of like a wean, where it's like they're attacking your senses with great songs, but also some unique sounds. There is no style on this album, and it's wonderfully eclectic. You know, you're going to hear everything from acoustic songs to something with like a hip hop beat and samples. And it's absolutely crazy. They're not giving you what you want. They're giving you what you need, just something different. You know, it's so unique. And that's a self-titled album, came out in 2004. Now, the next album came out in 2006, and that's called Road, Rail, River. And that's the same type of thing where they're just taking every angle and just doing very unique things. But Fred's voice, like I said, I love his voice. And in the medley that I play a little bit later, you're going to hear that wonderful, glorious voice. But the thing is they are still writing pop songs. There is still pop songs woven into the albums. And they would become a little bit more commercial or a little bit more poppy as the band went on. But the first couple albums, they're really doing things different, which is fantastic. It's kind of like they're saying, nothing's off limits. And that's what makes things really exciting. And then they put out an album called Right Royal. That came out in 2007. And that's filled with 20-something songs. And again, some great pop songs and some eclectic things that challenge the listener. But ultimately, I mean, there's fun things in there. And it's really just a great listen. And in 2008, they put out an album called Swimming Pool Lies. Again, doing things their own way. Now, they're adding more electronics into the thing. And then they come in on albums like I Saw a Ghost from 2012. And again, with each release, they're sort of bringing in more elements, but it's coming out their own way. Fred and Christopher Cordoba definitely creating a unique JACK ADAPTOR sound. The next album, this one got a little bit more exposure because I think it was reissued by Cherry Red, but it's called JACKADAPTOR. Very, very poppy, but still some experimental elements, and definitely an album you should check out. The next album came out and is called The Spoiler Versions, and that came out in 2018. They're really expanding their sound. They're really bringing in more keyboard elements, more mood. Spirit is the Power came out in 2018 as well. Then The Gilded Sound came out in 2019, and as of now, this is the last JACK ADAPTOR album. I'm hoping there's another JACK ADAPTOR album, but I will say that Fred and Christopher Cordoba started a different project that's far more atmospheric, moody, electronic. That's called Vibrations of the Sun, and I've got the album cover right there. The thing about this is there's an instrumental version and a vocal version. Now, the vocal version is on vinyl and digital, but the instrumental version of the album, the music is wonderful, but that's the only version you can get on CD. You can't get the vocal version on CD. And I wish that I had good editing skills, because I would add a teardrop falling down my cheek right now. Because you know me, I'm a CD junkie. And one of the great things about Family Cat and the JACK ADAPTOR and Vibrations of the Sun is Paul Frederick's voice. But I'm not going to complain, because at least I can listen to it digitally. Did I just say that out loud? But wait, there's more. There's one more thing I want to show you. Now, Fred is friends with Patrick Fitzgerald from Kitchens of Distinction. And if you haven't heard them, holy moly. Their albums were released in the U.S. They didn't do too much over here. And of course, I'm trying to track down their box set because I didn't pick it up. Anyway, forget about that. But they formed a duo because they both celebrate birthday on April 7th. So they put together a band called the April 7. And this is a mixture of alternative, atmospheric, electronic. And this came out in 2016. And I'm only hoping that maybe they do something else. Anyway, that's it. Now, I would like you to sit back, relax, and listen to a medley that I put together that features a couple tracks from each of the Family Cat albums, and then features one track from every Jack Adaptor album, and a track from the Vibrations of the Sun, and a track from the April 7. I hope that you enjoy this, and I will see you on the other side.
As far as I know, this is true. Oh, but even so, something decently from you. Sometimes she poses, sometimes she sings, and she wore Gabriel's wings. Remember what it is that you hate, keeping up with the stuff that helps you concentrate. Remember what it is that you love. Remember what it is that you love, 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 love. It's very quiet here, the Jew is on the ground. In our conversation, is there a heavenly sound? Heavenly sound, heavenly sound. Searching for where is the place where I belong? Carry on, carry on, carry on. Back to the place where you belong. Should I deal with you when you're stubborn? Waking things up through the wall. Everyone you knew as a child has children now. Waking things up through the wall. And when you reach your destination, will you think of me? Waking things up through the wall. Waking things up through the wall. Like a new day. Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna help the drinkers, the smokers, and the others who keep the world going without proper reward. In the guts of the earth, we'll float on an ocean. All help when needed is still great distance away. You've been gone so long. 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 I read a golden book, showed me everything about the future, the changes it will bring. I'm trying hard to find a way to carry on. You are not what you haven't lost. You are not what you haven't lost. It's just a simple fact of life. Remember me, I could have had your wife, maybe 20 years ago, when I used to have a show. When I used to have a show. I'm on my way to win you back. Don't doubt it. I'm on my way. I'm right on track. Don't doubt it. I'm not the world's most optimistic guy, but I'm still alive and I don't know why. Maybe it was something I said. Some days you should stay in bed. It should have been me instead of you. Waving goodbye to the sun. Waving goodbye to
Well, that's it. I hope that you liked this overview of Fred's career, the Family Cat, Jack Adaptor, the April 7, and Vibrations of the Sun. There's another band he was in called Pure Grain that put out a single that I don't have. But then there's probably other projects that I don't know anything about. All of these bands completely unique. And the one thread that ties them all together, of course, is Fred. Anyway, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, to ring that bell for future notifications. And until the next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.